Welcome to a very special SnobCast exclusive with the one and only Ray Angry of The Roots. Are you fucking kidding me? What is my life? I don't know. Ray, thanks so much for being here, man.
Thanks for having me, man.
The Roots in Montreal, closing night of the Montreal Jazz Festival. It's massive. It's massive. And you guys just came, was it Connecticut? Is that where you were a few nights ago? Or?
In New Haven, Connecticut, and last night we were in North Adams. Wow.
And now you're here. Yeah. There's going to be a ton of people outside tonight. Yeah, it's going to be nuts, man. Tell me a bit about, you started with The Roots on How I Got Over, right? Mm-hmm. Which was released in 2010? 2008? Okay. Internet's wrong. Fucking internet. I don't know. Everything's a blur. I don't know.
That's all a blur.
For me, that album, it's weird because I've always loved The Roots, but that album did something to me. And I know you didn't produce or write that record, but the Fire featuring John Legend.
Oh, yeah.
All right? That shit is underrated, bro.
Yeah, for real.
But I need a bit of a history of the opening interlude of that album. So please.
So the opening interlude, like, no bullshit, that was like my first time working with The Roots. You know what I mean? Yeah. And so now, mind you, if you think about me as a creative, I just gotten out of college, got my master's degree in music, was on tour with Khalees, working with Lauryn Hill, and working with Joss Stone, and now, you know, hey, you're like, oh, I want to do more, you know. And now I have this opportunity to work with Questlove in the studio. So I'm in the studio with him. And so I'm nervous, and I'm like, oh my God, you know, and this is amazing. And so it's Questlove, myself, and Steve Mandel. So the three of us in the room, and this is all thanks to Richard Nichols, you know, who said, hey man, we want you in the studio, we need some interludes for the album. And so, long story short, so I'm like, yo, so Quest, you know, so we want me to record, like, what you know.
What are we doing?
Give me, what are we doing? Yeah. And he's like, just play.
Which is pretty much that's how Amir is, right? Like he's just like, yeah, just play something.
Just play something, literally. And so I'm nervous as fuck, and I'm like, okay. And then he says to Steve Mandel, he's like, hey Steve, this is how this happened. He's like, yo Steve, I don't know if he said like 90 BPMs or whatever, you know, something like that. Give me a click track. Yeah. And so he counts the shit off, and I'm like, what are we doing? What are we doing? And he counts it off, and I literally had to play something. Yeah. And so I go do 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 do. Anyway, that's the first thing that I played. And so from then there,
so from the get-go, that's the
first
thing you play for Questlove and The Roots.
First thing I played. Wow. And then he's like, "Can you have bass?" Cool. Is that cool? Yeah. Can you have strings? Cool. Yeah. Is that cool? You know, I'm constantly like wanting some feedback, and he's like, "Nah, man, it's great. Cool. All right, man. See you later." And that was it.
And here you are.
Here I am.
So creatively, being in the room, let's say with Amir Questlove at Black Thought, how much fluidity is in that room?
Oh man,
creatively,
it's all fluid. I mean, first of all, I would say, man, you know, Quest and Black Thought, those guys, man, both, as men, as artists. I'm just inspired by these guys. For sure. You know what I mean? And the whole Roots camp and the way that and you know, with all the records, all the shows, you know, and for real, me coming out of school as a classical pianist, working with the Roots, and them being a hip hop band, which is so fluid, and they're jazz and they're hip and they're all these different things.
Every element, every
genre. It's every element, every genre. And for me, I was able to finally be able to use all of the things that I've been learning. Because sometimes I would do gigs, you know, I would play with various. Like I was Iggy Azalea's MD.
That's
People
nuts.
don't know that.
Did you know that? I didn't know that.
No one knew. No, yeah, you know. I mean, she was nice. I mean, she barely spoke, but she didn't speak at all. But she's great. But anyway, I had a great time working with her. I think that was more of like an experiment. You know what I mean?
Could be, yeah.
Because she's not used to working with a band.
No.
You don't know that. She
With some
doesn't know
tracks
that.
and like a DJ.
Yeah, she's used to tracks. She didn't know the ethic of
Yeah.
just like having a conversation. Hey man, hey,
Right, yeah.
how's it going?
Yeah, exactly.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that
yeah.
kind of stuff was just kind of like not there. But anyway, but it was a really great experience because you know who was playing in her band? Fucking Kamasi Washington. I wonder if she knows
The
that.
other night, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think she knows the fucking incredible musicians that was playing in her band.
Right.
You know what I mean? I don't want to sound like I'm like
No,
coming at
but
her.
you're right. No,
Yeah.
but you're right.
But you know, Daru Jones, like she had the baddest motherfuckers
Yeah.
playing in her band.
Yeah.
This is my experience. So I'm working with all sorts of people. So a lot of times I have to like, you know, I don't want to say dumb it down, but make it simple.
Make it simpler. For
You know what I
some
mean?
people. That's
For
okay.
some people, you know, and it's a little bit, it's cool to do that, but with the Roots, I could just fucking
Freestyle, fly,
just like,
improv.
Yeah.
I was on my walk this morning and I was listening to Toyland, all right, which is one of your records, right? How do you get Marcus King, Liv Warfield, who's worked with Prince, by the way? Fuck, like I'm one of the biggest Prince fans.
Me too.
And then you got Quest and Black Thought also on that record. What was it like making that record?
Man, that record was very scary because that was the first time. This is me investing in myself. The pandemic basically birthed me investing into myself and not being a worker bee because I would play with so many different people. So I was like, man, I want to make my own record label and I want to do what I can to change the music industry. So I started just, you know, calling in favors. Hey, man, hey, Quest, can you play on this record? And they were so cool. I mean, they're always so, those guys, you know, and I've done so many things with Quest and Black Thought. And Liv, I've met
insane, man.
Liv
Yeah.
is insane. And I'm crazy. Like, I'm the guy, like, I don't give a fuck. Like, hey, I'm like, yo, I need to do a record with Liv. I called her, and she heard my crazy idea. She was like, cool, let's do it.
It's a great record, by the way. Like,
Thank you.
It's fantastic.
And it just happened thanks to my friend Catherine McMahon, who, you know, I did this project with her called Public Domain, which is also an experiment where we were just, you know, two people from different walks of life. She's in the art world, I'm in the music world, and we came together to do our part to bring some change because all the stuff that the George Floyd, all the stuff that was weird shit that was going on, and so and during this point, when I met Catherine, I was like, man, like fuck music, you know, the world is ending, the pandemic.
It was a dark place, yeah.
It was like, yo, it's over, you know, and so working with Catherine sort of like birthed my love for music again, and then I was like, and then I probably was maybe a little bit too ambitious for her because, you know. Like, if I do something, I'm not going to do it half-assed.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I started, like, shooting music videos. She's like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You know, it's not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's outside of my comfort zone. You know what I mean? And so I would say, fuck it. You know, I wanted to create some art, and I just believed in what I was doing, and I believed in the people. I just believe that through music we can just make a world a better place. So I just wanted to tell the story, and I wanted to get Questlove, Marcus King. I mean, Marcus King. Come on.
And
Come
he's
on.
still pretty underground, underrated.
Yo,
You know what I mean?
He's a fucking animal.
He's a beast.
He's a motherfucker. And Daru Jones, you know, I worked with Daru Jones for so many years, and Daru was kind enough to introduce me to Marcus.
Right.
You know, because Daru is also on this Public Domain project I was working on.
Yeah.
You know, I have so many records that I haven't released yet. It's fucking incredible. Like, I have a record with Daru Jones, Mono Neon, me, and Black Thought.
I saw Mono Neon the other night here.
He's
These guys.
a problem. He's a fucking problem. And I remember the first time I met him, everyone was like, "Who's this fucking weird kid?"
Right?
And I remember
Yeah.
I remember meeting him. I was like, "Yo, man, what's good, man? I love what you're doing, man. Keep doing your thing." And he and I have always had an awesome rapport.
Yeah.
You know, I remember when he was in LA and he was like, you know, he's had this weird shit on. Everyone was like, fuck is it? Yeah. and the motherfucker started playing, you know, and that's what I love about music. It's just, this is a shell.
It's a shell.
The music comes through us.
Once you hit that stage.
Once you hit the stage, man.
This other person.
Yes. And so that's what I love about, you know, about him, you know.
You've worked with so many people, and I could go on, like Christina Aguilera. You mentioned Joss Stone before, was one of my favorites. But I really want to know about the time you worked with Mark Ronson. Because I feel like you and him together in a room must be fucking outer-worldly.
You know, I love Mark. I think, you know, I love Mark. Yeah, Mark and Rich Kleinman, those two guys. I remember when they had their studio in Soho, and one time I came to the studio, and I walk in the studio, and you know, most of the times with guys, they don't really introduce you. You know what I mean? You just walk in, it's like, hey, you know, what's up? You know, no one introduces anybody. So I'm in there in the studio, and who comes up to me? So this woman comes in the room, and she starts talking to Mark, whatever, and then she, you know, and then she walks away. Then I start playing, and she comes over and she's like, "Oh, hey, what's your name?" Ray, and her name was Amy Winehouse. Yo, when I met Amy Winehouse, she embraced me like a motherfucker. And we were like, I was getting ready to leave, right? And they were going to dinner, and she was like, "Join us," and I was like, "Nah." She was like, "No, join us." And I was like, okay, so I'm sitting, like, I wish I had my phone, you know, my iPhone.
What year would this be, more or less?
This was the year before she really blew up. Okay. She was working on that album, famous album.
Back to Black.
Yes, she was working on that album. And so I'm in the studio, and she's like, "Yo, let's go eat." And so she's like, "Come eat with us." And so I went to eat with them. And so we're in this restaurant around the corner from Mark's studio, and it's her sitting next to Mark and me sitting across from them.
Dude, I got shivers, dude.
It's crazy, you know. And Mark, and you know, I love Mark, man. I think when I was working with Mark, you know, he's such a great guy, you know. And I think sometimes I would just get too excited. Right. You know what I mean? I was like, "Yo, we're gonna work with the Dap Kings." Oh
shit. Yeah.
I was like, "Fuck, I get to work with the Dap Kings." You know what I mean? Anyway, there's a long story there. And then now, years later, they're playing with the Roots, and they're like my buddies. Yeah. You know?
That's not. I mean, I got shivers. I didn't expect the Amy Winehouse thing from that, but like, holy shit, man. I mean, we're gonna move along.
I have you one.
Go.
I remember one time I was working with Joss Stone, and we were in this, and she was like, "Hey, I want you to come to me to the studio," and the session was with Mick Jagger and Dave Stewart.
Oh, 'cause they were working on that. Yes. Fuck. But also that super group, right? They made like this is right. Okay. All right.
Yeah. And so I'm in the studio. We're at Abbey Road in London.
Already you're like, what the fuck?
What the fuck? And so her manager at the time was like looking after her, and he was like, "Hey, we want you in the studio." So everywhere she went, I would go as her MD. And so we're in the studio, and so there was, you know, Josh was learning a song, whatever, and Dave Stewart was like, "Hey, can you play organ on this song?" I'm like, "Cool." And then they were like, I'm playing the organ, and I look up, man, I can't make this shit up, man. Mick Jagger is in the booth, up top, looking down at me, and he's like, "Whew," you know, and I'm like, what the fuck, you know? Oh man, I couldn't believe it. That was the most incredible, and he probably doesn't even remember who I am. And I saw him in London, and you know, and I went up to him. I was like, "Hey man," you know, he was, "Oh hey, yeah, nice to meet you." He's clueless.
Before we let you go, we got some rapid fire shit to ask you. Okay. This first one is actually it could be a touchy one because we just mentioned Mick Jagger.
Okay.
But so this is rapid fire. Here we go. You ready? We're ready. Let's go. Beatles or Rolling Stones?
Ooh. Damn. Oh man, that's tough, man. gonna say Beatles.
All right, we'll cut this part out. Pizza or pasta?
Pizza.
Yeah, that's my man. Your favorite solo?
Get pizza gluten free.
You could. That's true. Your favorite solo song, like from your solo career?
New York City.
Favorite Roots song?
I like Make Mine.
That's a great one.
I like Make Mine. But I also like. I mean, there's so many fucking songs.
They got their catalog. It's just
And not just the ones I wrote. I think my favorite. Things Fall Apart is absolutely my favorite record.
that record is mind blowing. Yeah, yeah.
And we performed that live at the Hollywood Bowl.
Oh fuck! In its entirety? Okay.
The whole album.
Shit.
Incredible. No kidding. Incredible.
Your favorite movie?
The Matrix.
Sick. There we go. Bill Withers or Al Green?
Ooh, man, you playing dirty.
Sorry,
Playing dirty.
but I think I know your answer.
I'll say Al Green.
Oh, I thought you knew with Withers. All right, cool.
So in love with you, whatever you want to do.
All right, we got that.
Come on. Green,
Come on.
Man. All right with me.
This is also a touchy one. Montreal or Paris?
Ooh.
You better choose wisely. Thank you so much. Appreciate that one. Do you
like Montreal right now?
Do you have? We spoke about this on our podcast a few episodes ago. Do you have an expensive hobby? For me, it's like record collecting. All right, but it's expensive in a way that it gets expensive. You know?
Yeah. Music.
Yeah. All right.
But it's not a hobby. Yeah. But I mean, if I had to pick a hobby, I would say collecting cars would be my hobby.
Like sports cars or?
Yeah, sports cars.
Okay, cool. All right.
And actually, I take that back. Motorcycles. I'm really into motorcycles now. Yeah.
You ride often? All right.
I want to.
You know what? I had a question here that I didn't ask you, and I'm gonna ask now. Did you come from a musical home at all?
Yeah, my father was a singer. My mother sang. My family sang. Whenever we would have family gatherings, we would
Come from a gospel background, right?
Yeah. So growing up in the church, there's always music. Yeah. So and plus a lot of my friends were into music. So yeah. So.
What's your first musical memory, whether it's artist or a song? Do you, like when you think back to your childhood, do you say, "Oh fuck," or when you hear a song now, let's say, and you're like, "Fuck, that reminds me of when I was 5 years old." Could be a gospel song, could be.
Stevie Wonder, "Songs in the Key of Life."
Oh fuck, iconic.
Stevie Wonder, yeah. That takes me back to my childhood. Stevie Wonder, and also. This might be people might not know this or know this record, but there's this artist named Najee who used to do cover songs of popular songs at the time, and
kind of like an Odetta or like something like along those lines, like Odetta, like Hit or Miss or like.
Yeah. He was an incredible musician, and he used to cover Anita Baker's music. And so I just have fond memories of that guy. He's amazing. And also Take Six.
Take Six.
Absolutely. If I had to pick an album from my childhood, Take Six.
Oh, wow. Incredible.
Spread love. Da, da, da. Do, do. Spread love.
Fuck yeah.
I love that.
My last question to you before you plug whatever you got to plug. All right. What is success to you?
I think at this stage in my life, success is conquering your fears.
That's the perfect answer.
Conquering your fears, yeah.
So, I mean, you got a solo record out, a new one, Ray Angry 3.
It's not out yet.
Oh, it's not out yet. Oh, you just recorded it?
I just recorded
All right.
it a month ago.
So that's what's coming.
It's insane. I recorded it in one day. It's like 110 minutes worth of
Holy
music.
shit.
It's going to be 3 LPs. It's going to be on vinyl. It's going to be also digital. It's going to be
Vinyl.
yeah. And so I'm working on artwork right now.
Gotta get my hands on that.
Oh yeah, it's going to be great.
So plug what you gotta plug. I know you got shows.
I have a show that I do every Monday in New York City called Producer Monday. So if you're ever in New York, come through. It's at New Blue 151. We have an album coming out. The first single is going to be called Interplanetary Love. It's absolutely incredible, man. I'm so excited about music right now, and it's such a pleasure to talk with you, man.
Oh, it's such a pleasure to talk to you, man. Yeah. Ray Angry, everybody. Thanks so much, brother. Appreciate it.